Do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth? Good, because you're going to need to in order to understand this video, which is about silence. Jackie. Oh, hello. Hey, Internet. Hi, it's me, Mike. So I've always been considered kind of a quiet guy, and I think that society looks at that as a negative thing. Society tends to label people that are quiet as socially awkward or an introvert, but recently I was thinking about that and thought to myself, why? Why is that such a bad thing? Hey, puppy. See, you and I have been able to speak since we were kids, since we were toddlers, in fact. And despite what you may think, it wasn't really your mom and dad that taught you that. It wasn't some guy asking you, can you say dada? I mean, I'm sure that probably helped, but in reality, children are able to pick up this ability simply through the act of listening. But it wasn't always this way. By the way, if you haven't noticed, I'm at the Grand Canyon. Yeah. The funny thing is, we don't really know when humans developed the ability to speak, the ability to communicate through language. There is no archaeological record that we can look at that would answer that question. Our best estimates date the development of language anywhere between 50,000 years ago and 2 million years ago. That is a huge stretch of time. Massive stretch of time! That means for tens of thousands of years, or even millions of years, our ancestors communicated through other means. I think that's pretty cool. But it also begs the question, how did we do it? Sure, there was probably a lot of grunting and pointing, but I like to think that we had other, more meaningful ways of expressing emotion, of conveying feelings. I like to think that two individuals could have a whole conversation just looking at each other. I think you might recognize this too. I mean, as valuable of a tool as language is, we're actually all fluent in a different type of language, which I'm gonna call the language of silence. This is a language that's separate from pointing or other gestures that we might make that allow us to communicate with each other, that allow us to know what another person is thinking. Think about it. There's that look that your mom will give you as a kid that means, shut up and stop talking. I am all too familiar with that one. That look would put the fear of God in me as a kid. Or how about when you gaze into someone else's eyes as if to say, I love you. If this shot looks blurry, it's because it's raining, my lens is getting wet, I am also getting wet. Gotta get out of here. Otherwise we're gonna be in trouble. Whew. There's a rainbow. In this language, there are no misspellings, no punctuation, and no grammar. There's just pure emotion being transferred from one person to another. This is the language of silence. Silence has within it the power to express the most profound of human emotions. Joy, grief, love. It is a language rooted deeply in the human experience, one that we all speak, and yet we only hear it when we give pause. So if you've ever been told that you're too quiet, maybe that's okay. Maybe it means that you better understand the language of our farthest ancestors, one that hides among the noise of everyday life, and is loudest in the vastness of silence. It started raining, and then it started raining a lot more. I'm soaked, I'm cold, but it's okay. I think silence is one of those things that allows us to reconnect with something we lost a long time ago, one that maybe we forgot about when we learned to speak. It's a whole different world, a world without words. We need to get dry. So if there's anyone out there watching, thank you. And I'll see you next one.